Drew Clark, they probably lost with it running, don't they? With not a kid. I think it
I can't leave it running.
it beeps at you twice, but it's
Yeah.
still on.
I don't do that. I try not to do that.
Well, on a cold day at the post office, I usually do. Leave them, just got heated seats, sure nice.
She's home, right? That's my bad. I just thought maybe she's doing public input on something.
Well, you gonna run? Really? I kinda figured you were.
If I had it publicly.
You gonna move to the country?
All right, I now call this meeting of the Sweetwater City Council to order. I'm going to ask Larry Holder with Highland Heights Methodist Church to do the invocation and Commissioner Peak to do the pledges for us. Councilman Peak, excuse me.
Let's pray. Father, as we come today, we give thanks and praise to you for this day that you've given to us and for the opportunities we will have today to serve you and to serve others. We thank you for each and every one who is here this morning. I pray, Father, a special blessing and your wisdom and guidance upon the mayor and the council members as they come and conduct the business of this wonderful city of Sweetwater. I pray, Father, that you will continue to bless them as they continue to provide great leadership and service not only to you but to the residents of Sweetwater. We thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge to our nation and our state's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
You'll get that memorized, huh?
I was teaching out of the corner of my
Okay, we now move to item 4, which is discuss, consider, and act upon approval of minutes for the meeting held on January the 8th, 2019.
Move they be approved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now move to item 5A, which is discuss, consider, and act upon approval of an ordinance ordering election for the qualified voters of the city of Sweetwater to be held on May 4th, 2019 for the purpose of electing a mayor and 2 city council members, precinct 1 and 3 of said city.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Now read the ordinance into the record. An ordinance of the city of Sweetwater ordering a municipal election to be held on May 4, 2019 for the purpose of electing a mayor and 2 city council members of said city and provide details relating to the holdings of such election. Okay, we'll now move to item 5B, which is discuss, consider, and act upon approval of a comprehensive annual financial report audit for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2018. Kathy Wilkes. Anybody got any questions of her?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The September 30, 2017 financial statement was the 39th consecutive year that the city has received the GFOA award. So that is quite an accomplishment. There aren't many things that have been done 39 years in a row. So I commend the finance department for their hard work and dedication to continuing the quality of this report. They've done a great job. I will just read, if you don't mind, the summary of auditor's results that's on page 112. And the type of report issued on the financial statements for September 30, 2018 was unmodified. That is a clean opinion. The question is, were there any significant deficiencies in internal control? And there were none. Significant deficiencies that were material weaknesses? Again, there were none. And non-compliance, which is material to the financial statements, none. So those are all clean opinions with no indications of any internal control weaknesses or non-compliance. I'd be happy to go over any information that's contained in the report that you have interest in, and we'll go over the detail till you're satisfied.
I appreciate you doing this, and again, to echo what you said, I think it's especially an accomplishment for a city our size to receive the GFO AO awards for the financial statements as well as the budget. Very few cities get that, and especially small cities our size. So that really speaks well of our financial staff and you and helping us get that. So thank you.
Thank you. It's a considerable amount of work on the finance department, and they do a great job and kind of have it down to a routine, and they work very hard at it, so thank you.
Move approval of the comprehensive annual financial report.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Now move to item 5C, which is discuss, consider, and act upon authorizing staff to pursue bids on AC 10 and grade 4 crushed rock for potential street ceiling coating project in summer of 2019. Any questions, Russell?
How many streets or how many blocks do you intend on doing this year?
Where we kind of anticipate, this is roughly around, if I remember, I don't have it in my notes, but it's around 100 city blocks. We do around 30,000 gallons, and that computes out to about a little under 100,000 square yards of seal coat. So roughly about that much.
This is a really good project, and I move that we allow the city to go out for bids.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now move to item 5D, which is discuss, consider, and act upon reappointing of Mr. Bill Johnson to the City County Joint Airport Zoning Board. Any questions?
Move to be reappointed.
Second.
I assume he does attend the meetings. No, he flies his plane all over the place.
I pulled up our records. The last time they had a meeting was 2011. He was there. They were supposed to schedule one in 2017, but I don't think it came through for a wind project. As far as I know, he's been there through the whole deal. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Now move to item 5E, which is discuss, consider, and act upon reappointment of Mr. Larry Ludlam as city appointee to the Sweetwater Nolan County Municipal Auditorium Board of Directors.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now move to item 5F, which is to hear a presentation from Police Chief Brian Frieda regarding the Sweetwater Police Department Annual Report.
Good morning.
Morning.
As you all are accustomed to, this time of year, every year by law, we have to make available our annual contact data report. This year is the first year that was impacted by the last session's passing of the Sandra Bland Act, which took our report from about 30 to 35 pages to well over 100. And so that's what you saw before you in your packet. Everything pretty much stays the same, except we have to now include audits. We have to do audits throughout the year, and currently we are set up with our consultant to do 3 of those a year. All those audits came back clean. There were no complaints alleging racial profiling, and everything's within standards by Roads and Means Data. And so we are compliant again, and so unless you have any further questions about that report, that's all I have for you.
guess, I probably ask this every year, but again, who makes the determination upon a subject's ethnicity?
They have to claim it. It's by the officer's best guess, or they have to claim it. They'll tell us, and trust me, they'll tell you. If you make an assumption and you put it on the citation or the written warning, and they see that, they're quick to point out your error. And so
Okay.
we have to make some judgment calls on our best guess, or they have to claim it, but we cannot ask. We cannot ask.
Any other questions?
Move we approve the report?
There's no action.
Oh,
No, no
okay.
action.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Now move to item 5G, which is discuss, consider, and act upon resolution approving revised employee policy manual. Any questions of Lisa?
Are there any major changes in the policy? Are the payroll deductions listed on page 73, or were there any additions there?
No, sir.
Okay. So I noticed some of the wording is there, I guess, is changing city commission to city
Yeah,
council. Was
yes.
that some of the major changes?
Yes,
Was
sir.
there-
Just cleaning it up a little bit, updating the federal laws and that kind of thing.
Okay.
All the local policies, Lisa, would transfer from the 2011 version of the manual to this version. So we didn't make any, or propose to make any changes to our local rules and procedures at the city of Sweetwater. Primarily, it's updating state and federal law, like Lisa said.
A very comprehensive policy. Commend y'all for the job you did on it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Move approving the new employee policy manual.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now read the resolution into the record. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Sweetwater, Texas, authorizing and approving the revised and updated employee policy manual and establishing an effective date. Now move to item 5H, which discuss, consider, and act upon resolution approving City of Sweetwater legislative agenda for the 86th regular Texas legislative session. Any questions?
Good morning again, gentlemen.
Morning.
I want to, before we get into discussion concerning the agenda, just give you a little bit of background as to what brought us to this point. Through the association, the Texas Police Chiefs Association, I'm appointed as a affiliate rep to the Texas Municipal League Board. Also, in the past, I have served as legislative chair for the association and have been involved in several past legislatures. And so TML called together the policy summit, and we met in August of 2018 in Austin to discuss what was going to be the league's primary focuses or goals towards the upcoming session. And what you saw before, what you've got now, started out like this. And so it was comprised of people from all across the state, from Amarillo, Borger, Perryton, Canyon, El Paso, Big Spring, myself, Abilene. So it was a cross-section of the entire state that came together of city managers, council members, mayors, and I think I was the only police chief in the room, and I think there was one fire chief from Tomball in the room. And so we scrubbed it down to the agenda that we thought best fit our community, and that's what you have before you. So, do you have any questions for me?
Move approval of the legislative agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay?
Thank you, John.
Thank you. I will now read the resolution into the records. A resolution of the City of Sweetwater, Texas, adopting the City of Sweetwater's 2019 state legislative agenda for the 86th legislature, providing for finding of facts and providing for an effective date. Okay, we'll now move to item 5I, which is discuss, consider, and act upon a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with MVBA attorneys at law for collection of delinquent municipal court fees, fines, court cost, and restitution.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mayor, Councilman, Mr. Vela. We're so happy to be here. This is my 15 years with the firm. This is my third time coming to a city council meeting in the morning. So
You're welcome.
It's different. You know, it's kind of nice. I'm Julie Morgan. I've been with the firm for 15 years. Our firm is Texas-based. We've been in business since 1961, 57 years now. We have 21 offices across the state of Texas. Now, those are primarily property tax offices. So our firm, just to give you a little background, we are strictly governmental debt collectors. So we work strictly with governmental entities, counties, cities, all medium to small. So that's our market, that's our focus. Okay, we don't go after the Las Vegas, Nevada type clients. This is our home, this is our community. We met not long ago, I guess it was late in the fall, with Mr. Vela and his staff to talk about the needs of the city. Our specialization is in court collections and also city accounts receivable. We have over 400 Texas court clients across the state. We have about 106 municipalities that we represent in the collection of accounts receivable. We've determined that there's a great need here in the city to collect those outstanding receivables. And Mr. Vela had given me some numbers. I think we have close to 500,000 in court, outstanding court fines and fees, and much more in accounts receivable and EMS. And to my knowledge, I think years ago I called on the city, and I think that they, that time the administration had told me that they were using collection agency, but I think that's been a number of years ago. And, so that number just keeps going up. It's going up and up and up as we speak. So our business, anybody in the business will have the technology. Basically what we do, there's three things. It's locating the people, and then telephoning and letters. Those are the three things that we do. The biggest thing is locating, especially where Sweetwater sits on I-20. You have a lot of people, especially with the oil and energy boom, that they may be going from El Paso to the Metroplex. So the big trick is finding them. And that's our specialty. Once we locate them, we can encourage them to take care of their debt. Now, I'm kind of merging, I realize that we have two different resolutions here, but I'm kind of merging because it's really the same concept. With court fines and fees, however, there's a big difference. Our fee is 30%, and that's per statute. So that means that when we collect $100, there's 30% added on it. The city gets 100% back. Okay, that's per statute. With the accounts receivable, that's considered consumer debt. So we've reduced our fee to 20%, and that's on a contingency basis. All the work we do, you are not charged unless we do collect. And I've actually proposed to Mr. Vela that we would drop that to 17% because of the large numbers that are received from him. So our standard is 20, but we've dropped that to 17% for the city. So everything that we do is strictly through all of the FDCPA. All of our people are certified through the American Collectors Association. It's very important to us. Our biggest, I guess, business model since 1961, our biggest priority is personal service. And our firm, we're in front of you. We have 10 representatives across the state that are continually checking on our clients, making sure that everything is running in a seamless manner. And that's virtually not seen these days. I mean, we've all experienced the calling an 800 number and going through the automation. You're able to reach us all by cell phone. I'm with Leland Heron. He's one of my newest reps that we hired for West Texas. Leland comes with 30 years law enforcement, 14 years as a chief city marshal from Cedar Hill, Texas. So he's very familiar with collections of outstanding citations and warrants and city policy. In fact, all of our people are extremely educated in that area. We hire prior court administrators, so we're able to go in and be able to understand exactly what the trials are within the court. All of our people are very well skilled in court export programs, including myself. I'm very familiar with Encode. I could probably do the export in my sleep. So we're right there as a virtual clerk to work with your people. Our objective is to take the work off of the staff. That's the whole objective, really, is to make things easier for staff so that they're not dealing with those old cases over and over. I mean, they probably touch them just through routine before they even go delinquent, 14, 15 times. So we're actually coming in, we're working as an extension of the court to ease the burden of that collection process. Transparency is extremely important to us. The city will have access to the portal into our system, so the court clerk or the judge can see exactly what we're doing on your cases, as well as on the accounts receivable side. One of the things that's extremely important to us is providing value-add services. So we're not just a collection agency. One of the things that we do is try and, as an extension of the court, offer value-add services to the city at no extra cost, so it's under our 30%. Some of the things that we can do, I'll give you an example. In the city of Abilene, actually, back when Mr. Vela was there, they came to me and they said, we've got a full-time employee that is, strictly making pre-warrant calls. So what she's doing is she's contacting defendants all day long to tell them, please come in and take care of your obligation before it goes into warrant. So what we did was we came up with a solution whereby they utilize our technology, and we actually call those defendants on behalf of the court, as though it's the court, encouraging them, with a message to come in and take care of the obligation. And what that did was it freed up a full-time employee. So that's $15,000 a year back to the city of Abilene. So we're continually trying to add those services. And it's all through the communication, our one-on-one service. Another thing that we do, it's Warrant Roundup, which is a statewide thing. It's going on right now. We're gearing up for it. But we do all of the notices. We send out all of the notices on behalf of the court. We'll also send out notices, what we call pre-collection notices. So those are notices that we send out that have not come to us, and we're not making any profit on them, but we're just doing it on behalf of the city. But that enables them to free up the employees from that process. We pay for all the postage, all of the materials, everything. So that's a huge benefit to our clients, and that's what we're doing right now. Another thing that we do is we provide you with a license to skip tracing tool, a tool to find defendants or debtors, TLO access, and that can be used in your utility department before they send out notices to make sure they have good addresses. But it's also very useful in the court. Another thing that we can provide to, this is primarily for warrants or warrant officers or city marshals, but it can be utilized by the police department also as a GIS mapping tool that enables them to locate individuals more effectively before they go out and serve warrants. Another thing that we're doing is, I'm just rolling this out, it's still in its infancy, but we contract with Court Level 3 certified through the Texas Municipal Courts Education Center with prior court administrators who actually come out and do regionalized training. And that's particularly helpful for our West Texas clients where they can't get to Austin or Galveston, where a lot of these seminars are held. So continuing education, that's a big part of what we're going to be rolling out here in 2019. So the value-added services are a great benefit to the court clerks and the judges, and that's basically what our competitors don't offer. We all have the same technology. We all utilize, millions of dollars of technology to locate people. Those are things that are very common in our industry. What is not common are the value-added services. So that, in a nutshell, is sort of what our program's about. I'd like to engage any questions that you may have specifically.
What's your average success
Oh, I mean,
in each of those, in
yes.
utility and court?
Okay. So, yeah, that's a good question because they are quite different. So net, usually across the board, about 35% for net. A lot of what we do results in non-revenue closures. So that means they're coming into the court and there's, other means of taking care, they're indigent or the judge dismisses. So that's probably about another 35%. So 50% of what we bring in or close out, I should say, on the court side is non-revenue closures. But your net, I would say in the first year is probably about 25%, and then it just goes higher as we continually search for people. Our overall resolution rate, I'll give you for Abilene right now, is about 70%. So that's overall resolution rate, net and non-revenue closures. On accounts receivable, it's going to be much lower. For EMS, average or maybe around 16, 17%. And utilities is by far the hardest because individuals are gone. And our success rate, it depends on how soon we get that. For the city of Temple utilities, they're consistently sending every month. And so on their utilities, our closure is around 20%. And that's on the high end. So utilities is probably going to be more around 8 to 10%. But, when I look at the numbers that were presented to me, that's quite a bit for the city.
Pete, do you have any comment about this program?
No, I was concerned about indemnity for collection efforts, and there's an indemnity provision in here that holds the city harmless, so.
Absolutely. And of course, we're bonded and licensed,
As you know, there's a lot of litigation regarding collection efforts, so.
I do know.
Yeah.
I do know, yes, sir. But I'm happy to say, we've never, we don't have to worry about that with us.
Yeah.
That's not happened to us, but yes.
Okay, so you're saying that the indemnity, if they do something
Yeah, the city.
outside of what they can do, they can't come back against the city?
That's correct, nor can the, well, I guess they could try, but not successfully.
Well, I will say also, we're all about compliance. Our Director of Collections, he's served as the past president for the Texas American Collectors Association. He's certified as a compliance officer. And everything that we do is done out of our Round Rock office. We also have an attorney that's a director of compliance. So, we're on top of that. We don't outsource anything, for instance, our call center, because we want to maintain control for that very reason, compliance.
So the first thing y'all do is make the call to try to find the person, or?
Actually, the first thing that we do, once we bring the cases or accounts in, is we skip trace them. We look for the best address, and then a letter goes out. And then we start the phone calls. And we were talking about, all of this coming down on the collection agencies. So they've made it really hard. There was some legislation passed a couple of years ago where you can't you can't utilize cell phone numbers. So what we have to do, we have the technology, we've invested in it. Once the phone numbers are loaded in our system, we separate landlines and cell phones. And so we're able to utilize our technology with our dialer on the landlines, which are fewer and far and in between. I myself don't even have one anymore. and then we have to manually dial the cell phones. Once we get consent from a defendant or a citizen to contact them on the cell phone, then we can, we can continue. But that initial call, we have to separate them out. So, so first it's locating them, and then the letters go out, and then we continue with the phone calls. And we're continually skip tracing accounts. People are transient, so if we don't find it initially, we're going to run it back through. It's a waterfall process. We'll run it back through our skip tracing. We use all the automated tools. There's probably about 7 that we use, but we also have a full department of, you can't replace the human brain. So once the technology fails, then we send it to the skip tracing department, and they're continually looking for individuals. And that's the key, really, finding them. It's real important to us one-on-one service with our clients, but also treating your citizens and the defendants with dignity, and that's where we're successful. Treating people the way they deserve to be treated, and we're more like financial consultants. Helping them take care of their obligation, whether that's paying the fine or going before the judge, or whatever it is to resolve it. That's what we're working towards, and treating everybody with dignity.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we enter into I guess a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement for item 5.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now read the resolution into the record. A resolution for the City Council of the City of Sweetwater, Texas, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with MVBA, attorneys at law, for collection of delinquent municipal court fees, fines, court costs, and restitution. Okay, and then we move to item J, which is discuss, consider, and act upon a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with MVBA, attorneys at law, for collection of delinquent accounts, receivables, and delinquent utility bills.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Julie. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Sweetwater, Texas, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with MVBA, attorneys at law, for collection of delinquent accounts, receivables, and delinquent utility bills. Now move to item 5K, which is discuss, consider, and act upon a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an on-demand engineering and architectural service agreement with Jacob Martin Engineers.
Good morning, Council.
Morning.
I am Tal Fillingham, one of the principals with Jacob and Martin. Also have Kurt Harrell, who is also one of the principals with our company. First off, I just want to say we really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Most certainly looking forward to serving the community. Jacob and Martin, our company, was founded in 1948. We are headquartered in Abilene. We have offices in Lubbock and Weatherford. Our company was founded as a civil engineering survey firm back in 1948. Since then, we've worked very hard, quite honestly, to become what we feel is a one-stop shop for our clients, offering everything from building architecture to mechanical, electrical, structural engineering, and still most certainly providing civil engineering and surveying. We work for approximately 100 communities throughout the state of Texas. A large portion of those are in the Big Country area. A lot of our people are born and raised in the Big Country area, so it's a very important place for us to work. We say all the time we don't see ourselves as just engineers and architects, but really as problem solvers, and we really hope to bring that to your community. Again, looking forward to working with you guys, and I'd be happy to answer your questions if you can.
Move adoption of the resolution.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now read the resolution into the record. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Sweetwater, Texas, authorizing the city manager to enter an agreement with Jacob Martins LLC for on-demand engineering and architectural service. Now move to item 5L, which is discuss, consider, and act upon approving request for proposal for the maintenance and operation of the Lake Sweetwater Bait and Tackle Shop. Any questions, Russell Jones?
When was the lake stocked, or has it been stocked?
We stopped some back in December.
Sorry, Andy.
It was stocked in December with some bait pits, like some perch and some pangolins. It's also supposed to be stocked in April with some more catfish and Florida bass.
Is that for all,
That was
just
for
Lake Sweetwater and Oak Creek, or just like?
It's Lake Sweetwater, Oak Creek, I think was stocked back in December with Florida bass.
Move we authorize staff to go out for request for proposals.
I'll second, but got a question. Mr. President, has anyone expressed interest in opening the bait shop?
Yes, sir, very much so. In the last 6 months, we've met with several individuals, Russell and I with a couple, and I know more than that have expressed interest. To Russell, if you want to kind of fill in the gaps on that.
Okay.
We've had some phone calls that had expressed some interest. Mr. Campbell's visited with a couple, and then we had last year, I think, when the lake was a little bit lower, we had a couple that approached us and wanted to open it back then. So we've had about 4 or 5 people that had contacted us.
In your opinion, Russell, do you think the May 30th projected open date is a little aggressive? Because I don't know what kind of shape that building is in.
I don't think it's out of the question. The building is pretty decent, just for move-in and startup. There is some improvements that need to be made, but I think it can be done, as we go on. So, we've got it pretty well cleaned up, right now, and I think it is somewhat move-in ready, with a few little modifications, but yeah, I think it's gonna be good.
But all the licensing that they'll have to go through.
They'll have to, yes, they'll have to get those. And we'll be kinda on the, probably end of spring in that area, bordering summer. So that'll give them probably just a little bit of time to get that.
Russell, I know it's an RFP and not a specified things that they have to do, but do you have some things, minimums that you'd like to see, such as gas, bait, bread and milk?
Well, pretty much what they're gonna want up there is gonna be like a convenience store setting, so, just basically that, just what you had said. We'll be looking at their experience, we'll be reviewing all of the RFPs that come in, and we'll kinda, we'll have a committee that will look at the point systems with their history, probably their credit ratings and whatnot. So we'll be looking into their background and then kind of checking and see their experience, and just the minimum, probably a convenience store type of a setting.
Is it possible for the store to sell gas?
No, they used to have above ground storage tanks out there, if I remember right, but they're not there anymore. And pretty well all of the lines that went to the dock, I don't think they're in good condition. So it's really would probably be more money than it's worth to try to get that going again. Although if that's what they would like to pursue, we'd look at it and see if that's a possibility.
So we wouldn't require it, but it's something that
Right.
the operator could put in.
Yeah, we could discuss that
if he
later.
so desires.
I just don't think it's really necessary at this time, probably, to even take a look at that.
Are there restrictions that would even allow that, sale of gas for land vehicles?
You need to be certified. There is a certification with the, I believe it's TCEQ, the above ground storage tanks, or the underground storage tanks as well. So there's quite a bit of a little process you have to go to be able to sell, to do that. trouble in his word.
I don't know if the city would want long-term liability of underground storage tanks anyway.
Right,
No.
right.
I would think if we had gas, you'd want it above ground.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions? I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Now move to item 5M, which is discuss, consider, and act upon a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute contracts with the Texas Department of Health and Human Services. Any questions?
Exactly what does this do?
It's SNAP's programs as
Okay.
far as their funding.
Thank you. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'll now read the resolution into the record. Be it resolved that the governing authority of the above local governmental entity does hereby authorize Jim McKenzie, mayor, and his successors to negotiate on terms and conditions that he may deem advisable. A contractor contracts with the Health and Human Services Commission and to execute the contracts on behalf of the local government entity. And further, we do hereby give him the power and authority to do these things necessary to implement, maintain, amend, renew, or request closure of the contract, although the authority of the successors is binding of this entity and is knowledgeable that this entity must specifically authorize another party by name in the resolution within 30 days of the change in authorization and when specifically required by Health and Human Services Commission, whichever is sooner. Okay, now move to item 5N, which is discuss, consider, and act upon award of construction bids, Texas Water Development Board, Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, contingent on TWDB concurrence. Deal.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Council. Yesterday, bids were opened for Contract D, the Water System Improvements Project funded by the Water Development Board. Prepared a bid results letter for you here. Obviously didn't have time to get that in your packets. So, if you look here at this letter, it summarizes that we received one bid. That bid came in over budget. The second page indicates the bid tabulation, showing the different line items. And then the third page indicates all of the different contractors and subcontractors that reviewed the plans, downloaded the plans. We anticipated to get more bidding competition on this project, but unfortunately we did not. The low bid, or the only sole bid, was submitted by Dowtech Specialty Contractors. Their bid was in the amount of $1,785,103.10. The construction funds available for the project are approximately $1.42 million, which leaves us with about $365,000 over funds available for the contract. So since our recommendation at this time is to reject this bid so that we can move forward with re-advertising the project and try to generate additional bidding competition. Any questions?
Sage, why do you speculate that we only received one bid?
Sir, I don't know. I'd gotten a few questions during the bid phase. Obviously, that's a long list of folks that had reviewed plans. Really anticipated more competition or more bids. I did speak with one contractor. He won a bid last Friday, so he decided not to bid on this job. He wouldn't have the manpower to get it done. A lot of the contractors have plenty of work. One reason I think this bid is as high as it is, I think that the contractor has plenty of work to do, and he just threw a number at it. And if he got it, then obviously that would be really good for him. He was not expecting maybe there to be as much bidding, other bids submitted, just because of the amount of work that's out there now. One thing I would like to do is go back and look at how we structured that bid. Maybe we can structure it a little bit differently, get some competition in some other areas. Maybe we reduce the base bid a little bit more to have some flexibility. That's our recommendation.
Can we spread out the time period that it has to be done in order to maybe get?
Absolutely. Anything we can do to garner more bidding competition to get more competitive bids, that's what we want to do.
Does the city have a deadline to start this?
There's still a significant amount of time on with the water development funding. If additional time is needed, obviously a request can be made, but that deadline is not a concern at this point.
I move we reject the bid.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now move to item 5O, which is discuss, consider, and act upon approval to submit 2020 Texas Water Development Board Drinking Water State Revolving Fund application for funding.
We've covered this item on past agendas, discussed the improvements that are proposed. Working with Mr. Campbell and staff, looking at the improvements planned for on the water side. We're proposing replacement of the remaining 2 trains at the membranes at the water plant, required testing, raw water pump replacement and upgrades, distribution system water line replacement, and then rehab of a welded steel ground storage tank. That amount is approximately $2.7 million. What we're recommending to the council is to approve us to submit the application on the city's behalf. It does not lock you into any funding commitments, but to get the application in to see what the Water Development Board offering would be, and then the city can make a decision if you want to move forward at that time.
I move approval of submission of the application for funding.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now move to item 5P, which is discuss, consider, and act upon approval to submit 2020 Texas Water Development Board Clean Water State Revolving Fund application for funding.
Same type of item, except on the wastewater side. We've covered in a prior presentation the proposed improvements. A little summary of those would be repair, replace, influent transfer pumps, wasp piping replacement, mechanical screen component replacement, PLC replacement, UV system replacement, and then the SPRS system membrane diffuser replacement. Covered those in detail in the past. The approximate amount that we would apply for is $2.1 million. We would not exceed that in the application.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
City Manager's report.
Yes, sir. Starting with the quarterly water availability report. This is a quarterly assessment that's submitted to us by the EHT engineering firm out of Abilene. The recommendations for this quarter are to utilize Oak Creek as a supply source during the weekdays. That means our plant's running a little more often than it typically would be. Utilize groundwater on the weekends, and which will allow demand to relax on the wells to enhance recovery on those groundwater wells. So that in summation is really what EHT submitted to us. So I wanted to pass that along to the council and the community. If anybody has any questions, they can call up here to City Hall or get with Eddie Campbell as well. On the city job postings, I put together a committee just a week ago, and I don't really like committees a whole lot, but at the staff level, but this was something that I saw that we could do. There was a lot of talk around the table during our directors meeting just last Tuesday about our challenges with getting folks to apply for city positions, city job postings. And so there was a lot of good ideas thrown around the table at that meeting. It was very productive, but I wanted to take it kind of to another level. So appointed 4 staffers to look at some of those ideas that were being thrown about and come up with something a little more concrete to submit to me for as far as recommendations go. Russell Jones was voted on, or voluntold, I think is the word, to go ahead and head up that committee. Lisa Adames is on it, Zach Adames as well, and Chief Grant Madden. So those 4 staffers were told, here's your charge, go get after it. And it wasn't maybe 24 hours later that we had this idea, and Zach will go ahead and pull that up. And it's just utilizing social media, utilizing in particular in this instance a Facebook page to put our job postings, our openings on. You'll see there's a lot of information there on how to apply for the jobs, what the job is. In that case that Zach is pointing to is a meter reader position that's been open. And like I said, it just kind of all goes back to us having a challenge, a great difficulty in getting folks interested in city jobs when the unemployment rate, Ken, is 3.1 right now in Nolan, lower than the state and national averages. With the economy going the way that it's going, that's good overall, but when it comes specifically to try filling some of these city positions, it puts us a little bit behind the 8 ball. So we got to utilize whatever strategies that we can come up with to try to get folks interested in applying for these jobs. There's a lot of good that comes with working for the city with TMRS and our holiday schedules and our health insurance and those types of things. A lot of the folks that apply for some of these jobs, they're not typically concerned about those types of things right now. They're looking at the salary, so we're looking at that as well. But I just wanted to kind of show this off, that within 24 hours, that group, with the help of the rest of the staff, really put this together. And this is really online 24 hours later. So I commend that committee for coming up with this. I think it's good. We're starting to push it out to the community. We got to go where the people are. A lot of times they're on social media already, they're on Facebook already, and those types of things, rather than waiting for them to come to us. So we're trying to find ways to be more aggressive with that. And the purpose of this was just to share that with the council, share that with the community, and then if there's any other ways that we can help push folks to apply, challenge them to apply for these open positions, we're all ears.
So they can submit an application online through that?
We're not to that point yet. They can print it, and then they'll have to submit it the way that they've always done it. But that's another strategy that we're working on, to try to find a way through our website where folks can click on a button and the application comes up and they can fill that application out electronically and submit it electronically. We don't have that. We're not that far along yet. We should be and we will be. And that's one of the strategies that the committee and staff are working on. So that'll make it a little easier, a little more easier to do that. So thanks to the committee, thanks to the staff for getting us this far this quickly. We appreciate it.
Question. Going back to the water, Eddie, what is, how is the well field static levels holding up, and what's happened since we've had since we were blessed with all of the rain in the fall?
Larry, we did our last static report in January of this year. It seemed like all the well fields have come up significantly since the rains in October. And we're going to try to, as Mr. Bella pointed out, that we're going to try to run about 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, water plant. And Saturday we'll run about 8 hours a day. The rest of the time we'll be using the well field. So we're trying to flip the percentage of the surface water versus groundwater. But the wells are all looking good. They've all come up probably 8 to 10 feet, I would say.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next item on my report, Atmos, really just wanted to say, since the tragic explosion, which thank God there wasn't any loss of life associated with that. We thank God for that every day. But nevertheless, there was destruction of property. On the Atmos has responded. They sent their army out to the city of Sweetwater to ensure that they could find any type of leaks that are going on in the alleys, in the streets. We've seen Atmos deployed, and I just wanted to take a moment, Sean, to thank you and your crews on behalf of the city and the council for responding like you guys did. Highly visible in the community, and I think that provides a level of comfort and security to all our citizens here, so we do appreciate that. Another update related to Atmos, when you get into the lines that are underneath the roadways, you've got to cut into the roadways to access those. And so typically what Atmos does is contracts, they do their work, they contract with the city and Russell's crews, and we'll go in and backfill and patch it up. But we're at such a point right now with some of the job vacancies that we have and other projects that we have going on in the streets department, where we're not able to respond as quickly as we need to because of the level and the volume of work that Atmos is doing out in the community. So we've reached a negotiation or conclusion with Atmos on that. They're going to use their preferred provider, the preferred contractor, to come in and do that rather than utilizing city crews to backfill and to patch those street repairs. So I wanted to let everybody know about that. If anybody out there, and maybe Joseph, you can help us with this, has questions or concerns about anything going on out in the community with the gas company, with potholes that are left behind in the streets, anything like that, they can call the city up here at City Hall, and we'll get in touch with Sean and Atmos, and we'll work through those issues. And Sean, I don't know if you wanted to add anything, or if anybody up here had any questions for Sean with Atmos.
On a different note, I would like to commend Atmos for the way they have upgraded the building on East Broadway Street. It has really enhanced the appearance of East Broadway, and I certainly hope others follow y'all's leads.
Great, thank you.
Sean, how many leaks were detected when the crews came in?
So related to the incident on Tanya Street, there was one leak that we found in the alley, not associated with the incident at all.
At my house.
Which we repaired. And as a result of that, we've sent out survey crews, and we continue to survey the city. I don't have the number of leaks. I mean, obviously our annual surveys go on based on the type of material in the ground, and we continue to do those. Plus, just to ensure the community and the city that we're doing what we need to do. We've increased those surveys, and so everything is going well. And if we find something, we make sure that we repair. We're working with customers as well, replacing service lines and meters, and if that's the case at hand. We're grateful for our new facility. It's
nice.
The guys love it, and hopefully there'll be a grand opening soon. So
Really looks nice.
Thank you.
thank you.
And Mr. Mayor and Council, moving on to the city charter, that was a long process. It was probably about an 18-month process by the time we got done with the election, approving all 23 charter items last November. And so we're at the point where we've got the hard copies of the new and improved charter. I want to take this opportunity to pass those out to all of you up here, and really, more importantly, thank the staff, Patty and Becky and all the director staff that worked on that, Pete, who helped us a lot on the of course the legal end of things, the city council, all y'all up here that were very supportive of us putting those amendments on the ballot for the voters' consideration, and finally the voters who saw, in my opinion, the wisdom of moving forward the way that they did. We were kind of on pins and needles in November about how many of the ballot propositions were going to pass. So it turned out all of them did. We were 100% on that, and we're very, very fortunate to have ourselves in that position. And we have the voters to thank as well. Thank you to the newspaper for being a partner with us on that, helping us publish what we needed to publish through the notification process. And Mr. Mayor, that is all I have.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Public input.
So I am in my museum attire, but I am not speaking on behalf of the museum right now. I do plan to come to every meeting this year, although I miss January by a day, talking to Dr. Peak. But something that's just really been bothering me as a private citizen lately are the number of unregulated pet births in this community. And I mean, every day we see puppies for giveaway and kittens for giveaway and stray dogs running around. And so I would like to at some point get on the agenda, maybe us changing the city ordinance that if you're going to have any kind of breeding, you must have a breeder's license or face a penalty. I would also like that rule to be enforced and fines collected on that, so hopefully we can cut that down. There's also, these are all animal related, there's also lots of dogs on chains. I know the state law is they can't be on less than a 10-foot chain for a certain number of hours a day, and I don't feel like that's being strongly enough enforced. And then also, to go along with the breeding, that possibly we look into applying for a spay and neuter voucher program. The PetSmart Charities application is only 3 pages long, and if y'all want me to fill it out, I don't mind. That doesn't open again until August, and there's also things through the State Department of Agriculture that we could possibly do a spay and neuter voucher system through them to help curb that problem. So that's all. I don't know how to get that on the agenda at some point, but I think those are problems we have, so thank y'all.
We'll talk about it.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Speaking of
Adjournment.
animals, there's a fox running around my parking lot.
Leave the fox alone.
He visits me about once a week, maybe not the same fox, but.
I think there's 2 that live on the square. They're still there. There's 2 foxes that live on the square at Grandma Boy's funeral home.
Maybe the same one I see when I leave the office at night.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.